forget this.
Right on.
From the moment of its release in 1977, Saturday Night Fever exploded like a cultural earthquake, shaking up both the world of cinema and music. The film not only catapulted John Travolta into becoming the brightest star on the planet, but also ignited a global disco frenzy. Yet, the dazzling stage lights only masked part of the truth. Hidden behind the legendary dance moves are dark secrets almost impossible to believe. A scene so chilling that it sparked fierce outrage from audiences in theatres. And right on
I will
set,
be posting more
the director
videos like
was once
this.
accused of harassing a female actress. A scandal the crew
Not
desperately
nostalgia.
tried to bury at the
That's
time.
immortality.
And that's
So
just
tell
the
me,
beginning.
which Saturday
Right now, get ready to uncover all the shocking truths behind Saturday Night Fever.
on the bell so you
A
don't
film
miss the
that
next
seems to
movie
bring
bro
only the
deep dive.
glitz of disco, but in reality, harbours dark corners that rocked Hollywood. 1. The director was accused of harassing a female actress on set, John Badham. The name tied to the glamorous footage, the man who helped turn Saturday Night Fever into an immortal cinematic icon. With that success, he was celebrated as a talented director who transformed the disco dance floor into a global cultural storm. But behind that glamour lies a stain that makes many shudder. Years after the film's release, actor Paul Pape, who played Double J, unexpectedly accused John Badham of inappropriate behaviour towards some young female extras. Rumours spread, intensifying the tense atmosphere. Some claimed Badham was caught touching an actress when no one was around, only for it to be quickly hushed up. Additionally, there were whispers that during casting, he deliberately chose young, attractive women. Some even recounted backstage parties where the director made overly flirtatious remarks, leaving many uncomfortable. Though no one came forward to confirm, and the truth was never fully clarified, the mere presence of these rumours was enough to seriously damage the reputation of both the director and the film. And while the public was still reeling from the on-screen controversies, a real-life tragedy struck, leaving the entire film crew stunned too. John Travolta nearly abandoned the lead role due to the tragic loss of his girlfriend. Behind the dazzling spotlight of the screen, John Travolta, then just 23 years old, was living through the most painful days of his life. While filming the TV movie The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, he fell in love with actress Diana Hyland, who was 18 years older than him and played his mother on screen. Their unusual romance blossomed quickly, despite the age gap, and became a major source of motivation for Travolta. But fate was too cruel. Just a few months later, Diana Hyland was diagnosed with breast cancer. The aggressive disease progressed so rapidly that she could only film a few more TV episodes before passing away at 41. During that time, Travolta left the Saturday Night Fever set to fly to Los Angeles, staying by her bedside, holding her hand until her final moments. That loss nearly led Travolta to abandon the role that would define his career. Yet, he returned to the set, carrying unhealed grief to complete each scene. But the off-screen turmoil was nothing compared to the shock audiences faced on the screen. 3. The rape scene in the film sparked fierce global controversy. When Saturday Night Fever premiered, people expected a glittering musical filled with light and frenetic dance moves. But instead, director John Badham plunged audiences into an unbelievably dark territory. One of the most shocking scenes was when Tony's friends forced Annette, Donna Pescow, into the back seat of a car and raped her, exposing a grim and brutal side of Brooklyn youth. That moment was unbearable for many viewers. Some left the theatre in silence, while others were outraged, believing the film had crossed the line for entertainment. The scene became a heated topic of debate in the press. Was it truly necessary to reflect reality, or was it just a meaningless shock? Director John Badham defended his decision. "We didn't want to deceive the audience. We had to show that beneath the dazzling disco lights, there still exists a dark and cruel world. Regardless of perspectives, that scene left a haunting mark for decades, making Saturday Night Fever a relentless focal point of debate. And that shock ran parallel to another story, as Travolta's co-star, actress Donna Pescow, had to endure harsh pressure from the producers. 4. Donna Pescow was forced to gain and lose weight repeatedly just to fit the role. To embody Annette, the dreamy but plain girl in the film, Donna Pescow faced a harsh demand from producers: gain weight to look more ordinary. Before she could adjust to her new appearance, she was ordered to lose the weight quickly to fit into sensual scenes. The constant changes took a toll on her physically and mentally. Behind the scenes, many colleagues felt sympathy watching Pescow, who, after filming, dove into grueling diets, her eyes always tinged with unease. But her efforts paid off, as audiences recognised her work, making Donna a respected actress for her professionalism. And that tragedy wasn't the only thing that made the film's backstage haunting. 5. Scientology crept into the set, leaving the crew uneasy. Can you imagine a dazzling disco film overshadowed by a mysterious religion? John Travolta, the brightest star of Saturday Night Fever, was already a devoted Scientologist at the time, and that belief became the spark for countless rumours on set. Some claimed Travolta frequently invited colleagues to Scientology events, while others said some crew members were approached about joining. One frustrated production staffer said bluntly, "I came to make a movie, not join a religion." The already tense set, strained by tight schedules, grew heavier with suspicion and division. Later, to avoid potential conflicts, the studio intervened. Discussions about religious beliefs were strictly limited, and the crew was reminded to focus solely on work. Travolta stayed silent, not publicly refuting the claims, but many believed his silence was just a way to keep temporary peace. He didn't abandon his proselytizing, but also didn't leave the film. And from the start, this cultural shock was actually a century-defining deception. 6. The entire film was built on a lie. Did you believe Saturday Night Fever was born from a true story, reflecting the vibrant disco life in 1970s Brooklyn? The truth is far harsher. In the sweltering summer of 1975, New York Magazine published an article titled "Tribal Rites of the New Saturday Night." In its author, Nick Cohn, a young British journalist new to America, created the portrait of an Italian-American youth in Brooklyn named Vincent, hailed as the Disco King amid fiery music nights. The article caused a sensation, depicting a generation swept into a whirlwind of music, lights, and primal instincts. It caught the eye of producer Robert Stigwood, who quickly bought the rights to adapt it for the screen. But nearly 2 decades later, in 1994, Cohn admitted a truth that shocked Hollywood. Vincent never existed. He confessed to fabricating the entire story, drawing inspiration from a friend he knew in London, not Brooklyn. The cultural portrait, once seen as real, was just a bold fabrication. And the ultimate irony is that a lie became the foundation of a global cultural phenomenon, forever changing cinema and music history. That frenzy didn't stop at the dance floor. It followed teenagers onto the streets, where imitation became far more dangerous. 7. Teenagers raced recklessly after watching the film. In the film, Tony Manero and his friends drove like reckless rebels, speeding across the bridges connecting Brooklyn. For many young viewers, that image became an enticing recipe for rebellion. In New Jersey, police caught a group of teenagers organising street races right after leaving the theatre. When questioned about their reasons, each one insisted, "We wanted to be Tony Manero in real life." The incident shocked the public, forcing police to issue a public warning about the film's dangerous influence. But that was just the surface of the controversies steeped in darkness. 8. Audiences hospitalised for imitating Travolta's dance moves. When Saturday Night Fever swept the box office, America went wild over John Travolta's image in a white suit, spinning under blazing disco lights. Millions of young people flocked to nightclubs, mimicking every move, from his hip swivel to his sharp steps. But that craze quickly turned into a nightmare in emergency rooms. Hospitals in New York and beyond reported a surge in injuries, sprains, dislocated hips, broken limbs from falls. A doctor at Bellevue even wryly dubbed the phenomenon Travolta-itis, the injury caused by dancing. Never before had a film prompted the medical industry to intervene due to dance-related injuries. But sometimes the shocks didn't come from the audience. They stemmed directly from the cast on set. 9. An actor unexpectedly dropped his pants in front of real White Castle staff. One seemingly minor scene that left a half-laughing, half-crying backstage story happened at White Castle. Instead of hiring extras, the crew used actual restaurant staff for authenticity. The director instructed them to work as usual, while the actors were free to improvise. As the cameras rolled, everything went smoothly until Paul Pape, playing Double J, suddenly dropped his pants in front of everyone. The staff behind the counter, unprepared, showed genuine shock and disbelief. That raw, spontaneous reaction was captured in the film. If those pranks only brought laughter, the conflict between the top star and the director was far from light-hearted. 10. Travolta and director John Badham clashed intensely during filming. John Travolta was no longer an unknown name. Already famous from the sitcom Welcome Back, Kotter, he knew the role of Tony Manero would define his film career. So Travolta wanted more control over the character, from wardrobe to mannerisms to every dance scene. But director John Badham had his own vision and refused to yield. The two oversized egos clashed constantly. Some days, the entire crew waited hours as star and director argued without resolution. Many scenes survived only through hard-fought compromises. Travolta got to add some personality, while Badham kept the overall framework. The already heated set grew heavier with tense, intellectual battles, sharp as a knife to the throat. Creative tensions threatened to derail the film, but that wasn't the only danger. Outside theatres, another force was stirring a fierce wave of protest. 11. Pastors accused the film of turning youth into disco demons. Upon its release, Saturday Night Fever didn't just captivate audiences but outraged religious groups. Many claimed the film promoted adult debauchery, drugs, and a hedonistic lifestyle. One prominent pastor even declared, "This is the gateway to disco hell." Those accusations spread across newspapers and churches, making parents fear their children would be drawn into a dark world. Instead of being seen as a film, many viewed Saturday Night Fever as a satanic sermon. The protests didn't sink the film, but on the contrary, made it a hotter topic, with everyone eager to see it for themselves. But another twist lay in the film's marketing campaign, where audiences were misled from the poster and trailer. 12. The poster and trailer misled audiences about the film's true content. Producers knew the film's gritty elements wouldn't appeal to the masses, so the marketing campaign focused entirely on the glitziest parts: disco lights, fiery dance moves, and John Travolta in his white suit. Posters and trailers made the film look like a cheerful, light entertainment for all. But in theatres, audiences realised they'd been misled. Instead of just dance floors and joy, they witnessed bold adult scenes, intense fights, and darker moments than expected. Many parents who brought their kids were furious, even demanding the film be banned. This expectation switch made Saturday Night Fever both a box office craze and a lightning rod for fierce criticism. To appease the public and pass censorship, producers had to take a calculated step. 13. The MPAA forced cuts to lower the rating from R to PG. Initially, Saturday Night Fever was rated R due to excessive profanity and adult scenes. This meant a large portion of young audiences, the core of the disco movement, would be excluded from theatres. Unwilling to accept this loss, the studio and producers released a PG version. they had to cut numerous gritty details, polishing the film to be friendlier for teens. The strategy worked beyond imagination. The PG version opened doors for millions of young viewers, helping make Saturday Night Fever a global phenomenon. But the drama over money and rights didn't end there. 14. Travolta was suspected of using a dance double in scenes. I don't know if you're like me, but watching Travolta dance, I thought, this must be his shining moment. Every spin, every move was so perfect it seemed unbelievable. But that perfection sparked one of the most persistent rumours around Saturday Night Fever. Did Travolta use a dance double? Some viewers scrutinised frames and insisted someone else performed the complex moves. The rumour spread, raising doubts about the young star's true talent. Travolta fired back. "Every dance step you see on screen is mine, baby." He claimed he trained exhaustively to achieve that perfection. But no matter what Travolta said, a haze of doubt lingered. To this day, the question of whether a shadow double was on the disco floor remains open, adding to the mystery's allure. But some moments in the film didn't need acting, as the actress's fear was entirely real. 15. The actress was genuinely panicked in the Verrazzano Bridge scene. The Verrazzano Bridge scene is one of the film's tensest moments, and that tension wasn't just acting. Donna Pescow, playing Annette, wasn't warned about the scene's danger. Facing dizzying heights and the eerie atmosphere, she was completely panicked, screaming, trembling, and crying. Shockingly, director John Badham chose to keep her raw reactions, believing they added authenticity. Instead of just a performance, it became a moment where Donna Pescow lived in genuine fear. And can you believe the film's most iconic item wasn't as valuable as audiences imagined? 16. The legendary white suit was actually worth just $130. Tony Manero's white suit on screen is arguably the most famous movie outfit of the 1970s. People assumed it was custom-made, exorbitantly priced, but the truth is harsher. The crew bought it from a local Brooklyn store for exactly $130. Even more surprising, Travolta loved the suit so much he kept it after filming. Few could imagine a cheap, hastily bought item would become a cultural icon, preserved in the memories of millions worldwide. And not just the suit. Another seemingly ordinary prop became $1 million treasure. 17. The disco dance floor was auctioned for $1.2 million. At the 2001 Odyssey Club, the crew spent $15,000 to build a lit-up dance floor, thought to be a minor prop but becoming the soul of Saturday Night Fever. Its flashing lights, synced to music, made it the heart of every scene. Years later, when the nightclub closed, the dance floor was auctioned and stunned the world. It sold for $1.2 million. The buyer's identity was never revealed, but rumours spread that it was a wealthy female fan determined to own her own disco shrine. That craze didn't stop at objects but erupted in audiences' hearts, turning them into fervent devotees. 18. Some viewers watched the film 17 times in theatres. How many times have you watched Saturday Night Fever? Out there, one fan paid to see it 17 times during its theatrical run. Her parents thought she was obsessed, but for her, and a generation, the film wasn't just entertainment but a way of life. People watched repeatedly, not just for Travolta's dancing, but to see themselves in that vibrant disco world. The film turned audiences into devotees, making theatres feel like disco churches. But to create that craze, few know the crew struggled with an extremely risky filmmaking approach. 19. The crew filmed guerrilla style in Brooklyn nightclubs to save money. With a mere $3 million budget, the crew couldn't afford lavish sets. Their only solution was to rent real Brooklyn nightclubs, filming overnight and cleaning up before they reopened in the morning. Crew members recalled, "We brought cameras, lights, music, and turned the place into a set for a few hours." It was true guerrilla filmmaking. That limitation created rare authenticity, as everything audiences saw on screen came from vibrant real-life settings. 20. The Bee Gees wrote the music at the last minute. When the Bee Gees were brought on for the soundtrack, most scenes were already shot. They didn't even know the script, composing new tracks mixed with old ones, including the legendary Stayin' Alive, in a rushed weekend. But with the music not yet created, what did the actors dance to? According to John Travolta, they rehearsed to Boz Scaggs and Stevie Wonder, later replaced by the Bee Gees' vocals. Saturday Night Fever isn't just a film, it's an icon that transformed global cinema and music. Every dance step, every melody etched itself into a generation's memory. Over 4 decades later, the work retains its allure, both captivating and controversial. That's why it will forever be named among immortal legends. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to catch more shocking cinematic secrets.